Hey guys, in case you haven't met me, my name is Kiril, and I want to share with you my top three skills that for accountability in a team that I pulled away from this week's reading and reflection. The first one I want to talk about is having a clear why, pointing back to the why. One of the most powerful quotes I've learned or heard from my current lead pastor, who I got to serve under when he was a youth pastor. Uh, he says that when the why is clear and powerful, the how becomes easy. Once again, when the why is powerful and clear, the how becomes easy. And I think that's where accountability starts, is everybody being on the same page on the team about the why. Why are we serving the youth in the youth group? Why are we serving at church? Why do we have this ministry or this business, whatever the case may be? Because when everybody is on track and knows clearly what the why is, then their role, and if the why is powerful too, their role, whatever they do, whether you're setting up chairs for the event or tearing down, whether you're preaching the message or talking with kids in small group, that why, those how things become that much more, not only easier, but enjoyable. And there's passion behind it. And that almost helps alleviate some of the need for accountability, in the sense that people are so passionate and fired up because of that why, that they're going to be doing those things and being on top of things more automatically. And so to foster that, I think you got to constantly remind people of the why, but really drill it in your own head and in the heads of your team members. And then check individually with team members. Do they get the why? Some people might not really get the why, and so they might be falling behind. And if they really don't get it, they got to be informed. They got to be more discipled into that. And that's kind of an idea that Dempsey talks about, where leadership has to be, and leaders have to be developed. They don't just pop out of nowhere. And so that's kind of the process of getting people on board with the why. And Macmillan also talks about that idea of a common purpose. And that's so vital to a team, because if the why is unclear, if the why is weak, like if the why of the youth group was to give kids pizza and make them have fun, who cares if I'm show up late? Who cares if everything's set up? They're just there to have pizza and have fun. But if the why is so that students can encounter Christ, be changed by him, and learn to live for him every day, then those little things become that much more important. And also having that clear why. If someone disagrees with it, it's easy to say, well, you're just not a good fit for the team. You're out. So that's the first thing, having a powerful and clear why, a common purpose. The second thing is, I really liked the idea of collaborating on expectations from the Irving and Strauss book. Don't just enforce these expectations on people. Talk with them, work with them, see what will be challenging, yet at the same time realistic. And even along those same lines, maybe they'll have ideas of how they can further do more in their role than just with the ideas that you have for what they should be doing, at least in your head. And it ties into this idea that Honeysett presented in his article about, are we doing discipleship here or coercion? If we're trying to disciple our leaders, our team members, we're going to sit down with them, get to know them, get to know what their capacity is, get to know what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. When we collaborate on expectations, everybody will have different expectations. Maybe one team member is very good. Again, in the context of youth ministry, that's just how my brain works. Maybe one leader is really good at small groups. They know how to lead discussions, get kids talking, but they're not really good at checking in and follow up throughout the week. It's just a weakness that they have. As the youth pastor, as the leader, you can set an expectation for them. Okay, because I see this strength in small groups, but this weakness in follow-up, I expect you to follow up at least once with, I'm trying to think of an expectation right off the top of my head. Okay, pick your 3 closest students. I expect you to follow up with them this week. And then next week, follow up with 1 extra student from the small group. Next week, on top of that. And then you can disciple that leader into becoming a person who's not only good in the moment, but good also outside the youth group nights, and be a trusted person in those students' lives. Then the final skill that I think is vital for accountability is to inspect what you expect. Again, is to inspect what you expect. I actually learned and heard this from my boss, who is an elder at the church, but he's the owner of a sign company that I work at. And he told me, I think he was checking in with the production team of, hey, have you guys been, I forgot what exactly it was, so I made something up. Have you been cleaning the cars? And he'll go in and actually look at the cars and be like, sorry, man, this is a mess. You guys are not doing your job. And he inspects what he expects. And I think that's so vital, because if we just set expectations but never check in, never actually follow up, first of all, it communicates that we don't actually care about these expectations. We don't care. It communicates that we don't care if our leaders are doing their job, if our team members are doing their job. We're setting the tone of, just show up. All those expectations we have, it's whatever. And of course, part of that, which ties into the last point of collaborating expectations, you need to have clear goals and expectations. In order to inspect them, you got to be clear. Example I have in my life, again, in the youth group that I serve at, our youth pastor tells us, okay, after the 3-2-1 method, you need to, tonight, on that night, have a meaningful conversation, or say hello by name in an enthusiastic, genuine way to 3 students. With 2 of them, or with 2 other students, you have to have 2 meaningful conversations, and then pray with at least 1 student. So the 3-2-1 method. And we're expected to do that. It's clear, it's simple. And also, another example is my other part-time job at the church, doing social media, my pastor expects me to make 3 reels and 2 invite posts for the accounts I run. And he constantly looks and checks, and it's kind of scary, but it keeps me on track because I know he's watching and keeps me accountable. So those are my 3 skills that I think are vital for accountability. The first one is pointing back to the why, having a strong, clear why, because when the why is powerful, the how becomes easy. Number 2, collaborating on expectations. We don't want to just coerce people, like Honey said, but we want to disciple people. We want to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and work with them to set expectations that will challenge them in areas that need to grow. And the final one is inspect what you expect. Set clear expectations once you've had that talk, and then check in. Don't let the busyness of life get away from checking in with your team. Are they meeting those expectations? Thank you guys.